Hey everyone, how are we doing? It's Tony here at Harrisonburg Honda, and behind me now is something special, the new 2022 Honda Civic Touring Sedan.
Here we go.
Honda first brought us the Honda Civic now in 1972 and 73. It features a two-door design that was a subcompact car for its era. And what made the Civic so user-friendly and what made consumers crazy about it was its compact size, its fuel efficiency, and the great looks. 11 generations later and almost 50 years in the making, we have the most sophisticated and the most elegant looking Civic yet right behind me now, the 22 Honda Civic Touring. Now, when we looked at the 10th generation Civic, is what Honda gave us in 16, 17, 18, all the way up till now, we noticed how sharp and aggressive that front angle styling was for the grille. Now this 22 Civic, like I mentioned earlier, is the most sophisticated Civic yet. So away with those aggressive sharp angles, now we have a more neutral front grille basis with these giant functional air ducts, which is going to allow for better airflow with this 1.5 liter turbocharged engine under the hood. You also see down here, Honda has taken some of those subtle details that we love in the Accord, like that new fog light design, and now it's integrated now to the front end for the new Civic. Also now with this 22 Civic, look at these aggressive headlights. So we don't have those sharp acute angles like in the 10th gen. We have a more subtle round finish that we also see from the Accord with this nice LED light bar design and LED headlights with your auto on, auto off design. So just like with how that original 73 model, 72 model was very elongated, had all those horizontal lines, we're going to see that now on the 22 Civic. Also, what we're going to be seeing coming soon now is going to be the new redesigned hatchback, featuring this new redesigned body as well as an SI option, which is going to be even more aggressive, and it's going to feature that 6-speed manual that everybody loves. So of course, like we mentioned earlier, standard now are going to be these LED daytime running lights, as well as your LED headlights and tail lights with your auto on, auto off features. Now your LX models and your Sport will not give you those great fog lights. It'll incorporate a smoked out look for those fog lights, but your EX and the Touring, what we see here, are going to give you those built-in fog lights. Now, moving down to the side, this new Civic is going to sit lower on the hood, and it also has a 2-inch pushback A-pillar compared to the previous year models. Also, when we look at this, it's a lot more simple. Simplicity is the biggest thing for Honda now. They want to give us that feel like they did when they brought us the Civic. So that's why you have this more of a flat-esque hood and not a concave hood like it was for the 10th gen, which is super aggressive. Now it's nice and flush, and it looks awesome now for this body. Moving back to that first A-pillar like we mentioned now, Honda's also increased the angle of this A-pillar. So it's not going to be sleek like the 10th gen and previous year models, but it sits up more like the original Civic like we mentioned, and it flows all the way down to this fastback design like with the original Civic. Now your B-pillar is going to be the same standard width, but your C-pillar is going to be just right from the Accord. So we're going to see that same feature like we see on the Accords, that C-pillar that all the consumers love. Now the Civic incorporates that. Now also the 10th generation Civic gave us the most aggressive as far as styling, angles, and body lines. For this 11th gen is a lot sleeker, a lot more luxurious. We see now this body line flows all the way down to the top. It's going to be horizontal with that lower side skirt fascia. And then the 10th gen Civics, we saw that indent, kind of diamond-esque design on the lower fascia. Out with that now we share the same body lines, kind of like with the Accord on these lower angles. Speaking of angles now, get ready for the hottest wheel package that Honda has released now for the 22 Civic. Starting with your LX models, you're going to get revamped wheels. Moving to your Sport, probably my favorite wheels now that Honda's put out with those sport style wheels. It shares a lot of the same aspects from the LE, the Civic Type R that we just saw released now, as well as the Type S, which for all you Acura lovers, you'll see some of the similarities with that new wheel package for the Civic Sport. Your EX model and the Touring wheel package like we see here. We see some of those options that we saw in the Touring hatchback from last year. Now the sedan gets it with this beautiful spoke design and an alloy finish. Now with the touring, let's look at the rear of this new Civic. And it's just like previous year models, it's just as stylish as before. Now we don't have those classic C for the Civic S taillight designs or that claw design that many consumers loved, but now we have this softer, like I said, more simpler taillight design. Smoked out inner brake lights here. You have your reflectors down at the bottom, similar to how the Insight has also. And it's just like in the front now. In the rear, we're gonna have 4 parking sensors additionally on both corners, 2 in the middle, and then under that, we see this completely new lower fascia for the Civic, giving it still an aggressive look to be a touring model, but you don't lose any of that sporty and aesthetic feel. Now, of course, what we come in love with the Civic, not just its fuel efficiency, but the cargo and capacity we have in the rear. Now, with a one-touch trunk access, we have a nice little power actuator on this right side here, but also we have 14.8 cubic feet in the 2022 Civic. Now, when we drop down, we look inside that cargo space, we see that your EX and your touring models are going to feature that 60/40 ability with your rear seats, while your LX and your sport models are just going to give you that bench style one drop across the back. Now, before we jump inside the new redesigned 2022 Civic and blow your mind, we're going to check out this new redesigned key fob that goes along with this new redesigned car. So we have this black out metallic fascia now on the back. Sleek, luxurious, but the coolest thing is that side profile, which resembles the side profile of your new Civic. And unlike the previous year models, like your 10th gen, your 9th gen and up, you don't have that physical key access now for your emergency key in case your fob dies. So now, like I mentioned, this whole design is seamless. You would never know it's there. We just pull that handle slightly forward, take that little physical key, you're going to insert it into your little hidden door, you're going to pull it to the inside, then you're going to pull your key out, you're going to release that handle again, and now we're ready for our travels. Now, like we mentioned, how Honda has changed the game on the outside of this 2022 redesigned Honda Civic. The inside is unlike any Honda before. We're talking 50 years in the making now, and it truly paid off. Starting with the elephant in the room now is going to be the seamless honeycomb dash with this horizontal design, which mimics what we saw in 1972 and 1973 with our very first Honda Civic. We also have these joystick kind of indicators here where you can adjust your fan angles and direction now. They're going to be integrated within this honeycomb design now, and it makes this whole dash and layout completely seamless for Honda. Also, you have increased audio quality with the Bose audio systems now, which is going to be the best and the first time that Honda's ever done this. Now, on our door handles and edging, we're going to see this carbon design like we saw on the Ridgeline, which is going to hide any glare or any of those touch point contacts that can show your fingerprints, dust, grime, things like that. Moving up from there, we have this sweet gloss black design with the space age chrome now for your door handles, which is completely new for the Civic. On our steering wheel here, we're going to see something that shares a little bit of the aesthetics from the Accord, which is going to be this focal point here. Now, moving out from that steering wheel, all new design button layout for the Civic. So no other Honda features these button controls, and they're extremely user-friendly. Before, there was all these contraptions and buttons where you'd have to navigate through different windows and portals. Now, you're literally one click or one touch away from getting phone call indicators, switching between FM, AM, satellite radio, or even back to your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto functions that they'll show you on the left side of the screen also. Also, we have a fully digital cluster now for the Civic touring models and your EX models, which before you had that analog design, so it's increased and it's also crisp compared to previous year models. Now, on the previous year model, basically you only saw your digital display. You didn't have that analog needle reading like some folks love with the Accord. Now we have that. You still have that digital aspect with your digital speedometer, but you also have an analog needle for your RPMs and your miles per hour. Now, located in between those two functions are going to be your digital display for your roadside or your traffic speed sign indicators, just like the Accord and previous models. Of course, down here you're going to have some new drive modes, which is going to be brand new for the Civic. You're going to get a sport drive mode, which of course, if you've seen my previous videos, it's my favorite drive mode. Or you get an eco mode for increased fuel efficiency, or you'll get your normal drive mode. And each selector will change with your back screen layout and controls. So no more is there's no physical eco button now. You'll use that eco toggle with 3 clicks down. Now you're ready to save max fuel efficiency. Below that, you're going to have your auto engine idle stop. Just like with our CRVs, the Accords, the Ridgelines, everything across the Honda lineup now features that, and the Civic features it as well. Under that, we're going to have our electric parking brake and our brake hold, which is for lazy driving. Now, just like I mentioned with our side door panelings here, the material layout on the center console is going to hide any kind of smudging, fingerprints, but also we see this new shifter design similar to the Accord, which is awesome with the leather wrap feel. We have wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but we also have wireless charging now in the Civic Touring. Now from there, we have our dual climate control. Now just like with the Ridgeline, with that gnarly textured volume knobs now, our heat and our cool selectors are going to have that same texture design for the best grip, as well as our fan speed indicator now. So if we remember in the previous 10th gen models, if we ever wanted to adjust our climates, we hit the climate button, and then we had to play with the whole touchscreen layout from there. That's out of the window now for Honda. We have these 3 physical knobs that allow you to control your heat, your AC, all with 1 or 2 clicks. Now when we move out from those physical knobs, we see that we have our heated seat indicators identical to the Accord in its layout. We have our high, our medium, and our low functions as well. When we come in, we're going to have our rear defroster, our front defrosters, and our side mirror defrosters and indicators. With our EX and our Touring models, we get this bigger display as well as 9-inch display, and we've also seen we have the same physical textured volume knob like in the Ridgeline. But the coolest feature now is going to be this tablet design like we see in our Accord. And most consumers are wondering, is it going to obstruct your view line or that visibility angle across the dash? But it's not. If it's lower on the center display here on the dashboard, but it also tucks right behind that inseam line of the hood. So when we follow the lines of the hood up, it's going to match with the lines right here on the top of your touchscreen display. Now also what is revamped is that Garmin navigation. It's going to be up to date and it's super fast and crisp compared to the previous year models. It was a little clunky, a little outdated with its look. Like we mentioned earlier, we have our wireless CarPlay ability, which consumers are loving. But now we have a physical home button here at the top left, a physical back button, physical tune and sync options, and then down here we have limited the touchscreen capabilities to make it easier for our consumers. So we don't need them basically having to put in Morse code to figure out this touchscreen display. Now everything is literally 1 click away, and that's what we love. Just like with the quality of the infotainment system that we have come to love with the Accord, the Ridgeline, the Odysseys, and Pilots now, the Civic is going to share that same capabilities and that same look. It also finishes that nice kind of soft matte finishes, so there's no glares, there's no sharp pinpoints to your eyes. So for your daily commute, your daily driving, makes everything easy for you and you're not being blinded. Now with all these new cars, we understand that it's not like our previous vehicles where you get this giant manual that goes over every aspect of the car. With all this technology, it's tough to do that. Honda's thought ahead now for our consumers. We're trying to keep them happy. What you'll see here is when you go into your home setting there, hit the little house button, little home button, you hit 1 swipe, you go to vehicle settings. It shows you a car and it shows you a little gear. Once you click vehicle settings, from here, this makes life completely simple and easy now. Everything from our TPMS calibration to changing our keyless access setup, our lighting setup, our door and window setup, even adjusting our meter setup for our back cluster display has picture indicators to walk us through the display and walk us through how we can change that. Before, you'd have to have cheat codes and a manual just to get through that menu, but now those pictures make it easy. Now, unlike previous Civics like the 10th gen, where you had that deep cavern-like design in that center console, where your cup holder tray was removable, but it was kind of weird, and it had that sliding effect. Now we have these physical integrated cup holders, which are a little bit bigger than last year's design, and they feature a deeper option as well to fit your different array of cups or water bottles. Now sliding back, like we said, this Civic is just like the Accord. That's what Honda's intended it to be. We have the same armrest design and the same deep well also, so you're not losing that additional cargo and storage space. Now under here, Honda has kind of hidden something from us. It's a little Easter egg, but it's so awesome. This is the original 1972-1973 Civic. Now what Honda has done is they've hidden this behind that armrest, just like we saw with the 10th gen, and they hid that little Easter egg in all the sedans. Now the same Easter egg is in your 22 Civic with a little homage to the past history. Now with your EX models and up, you're going to get your sunroof standard, of course. You have an automatic rear dimming rearview mirror, but also you're going to have that garage door opener ability integrated to the bottom left here. Now since Honda has eliminated the EXL trim levels, the Touring option is going to be the only option that's going to feature the leather seats. Now with that option, Honda's also revamped and updated the bolstering, the top support, and the headrest. So it's the sleekest and the most comfortable seat now for the Civic, and I can promise you, once you sit in it, you're ready to hit the road and just go anywhere. The lumbar supports have been raised here on the other side. We also have a softer finish here at the top floating to that headrest. So this whole design now is simple, just like with the outside, matches the inside. But let's go back in the rear. We're going to check out the space and the capacity of that second row. Now, since the new redesigned Civic is a little wider, we have increased shoulder width and leg width as well in the new Civic. Compared to the 10th gen, we do lose a little bit of that headroom. Now, because this new Civic is a fastback design, Honda's thought ahead for our taller passengers. Not everybody is short like me, so they've created basically a head well for your backseat passengers on both sides. Now also we have our armrest with our integrated cup holders. Our left side is going to be for our smaller cups. On the right side is going to be for our big gulp cups. So we're not going to have any issue there with fitting our water bottles, our drink canteens, anything like that now for our backseat passengers. Now for those long road trips for your backseat passengers, we feature 2 Lightning USB adapters now, so it keeps everybody occupied. Now the most important thing, of course, comes pricing with this new Civic. Regardless of how slick it looks, how clean it is, and how space aged now the new Civic is, the price point is what we care about the most. Starting at $21,700 before your destination handling now is going to be your entry, your LX model, the favorite consumer model. Now when you move up to your sport model, it's going to be $23,100. To your EX model, it's going to be $24,700 before destination handling, of course. Now for your big dog, the head honcho, the touring model is going to be $28,300. Well guys, we thank you again for taking a couple moments to check out the new redesigned 2022 Honda Civic. Here at Harrisonburg Honda, we're super excited and we hope you are as well. So we hope to see you in the dealership checking out the Civic with us and getting some more information, hopefully taking one home like we always say. Now if you have any additional questions or information, hit that link below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We can't wait to hear back from you guys. Peace out, stay safe now, and hopefully see you in new Honda soon.